Hello everybody. Today I've got a video for you of a 118 car. It's the Volvo 240T of Robbie Francevic, and it's the car he won the 1986 Australian Touring Car Championship as part of the Volvo dealer team. And it's also to celebrate the life of Robbie Francevic, because unfortunately he died the other day. It's quite sad. He didn't have a huge history in Australia, but for the time he was here, he achieved great results. I mean, in 1985, he came and raced a 240T for Mark Petch, who operated Mark Petch seals, like automotive seals, gaskets and the like. And they're a privateer team, and they finished 5th in the championship, but he did win a couple of races during that season, and for someone on his debut year in Australia on the tracks, that was pretty impressive. And I, as a younger person, remember him quite well. He burst on the scene in this Volvo, of all things, because, you know, it was left of field. I mean, you had your Holden Commodores racing, you had Dick Johnson in a Mustang, and there were others racing those Mustangs as well. You had Jim Richards in his BMW 635, and you had various other cars down the classes, Toyota Corollas and things like that. So I'll open up this model and you can have a look at it. I've never taken this one out of the box before, I don't think. I did show it in a video, I think, around a year ago. I did do a bit of a search before if I could find it, but it's there somewhere, because I do recall putting it probably in a recent finds video. If I did an extensive search, I'd find it. So anyway, I'll get it out and show you the model. Now, this model is by IXO, or IXO. It's got on the plinth, it's the Volvo 240 Turbo, number 10 of R. Francevic, winner of the 1986 ATCC, the Australian Touring Car Championship. It's a sealed body diecast model. It's got a fair bit of weight about it. The roll cage, I know the front section looks accurate to recent videos I've watched of Robbie driving his Volvo. Although those races were of the 1985 car. I mean, for a Volvo, it was a reasonably good-looking car. I know of the livery, there was a European Volvo that raced with a very similar livery to this. One thing you'll notice on the boot lid, the fuel fillers where they put the fuel churns in, they're just decals, so they're not actually proper fuel fillers. I have seen that before on a 118 model I've got of a Nissan Skyline. That's a Jim Richards car that I'll have to show in a video one day. But that model is a totally different kettle of fish, because that model was a limited edition car, whereas this one, being a IXO, I don't know what the numbers were on these, but yeah, as you see, it's a pretty decent looking model. Some of the detail inside, I should have a torch to show you, of course, but I don't, so I'll have to apologise for that. I'll put it on the turntable. We'll see how this goes for space. I'm hoping I'm not too close to anything. The batteries in this turntable are getting quite low, and the weight of this 118 will possibly put a bit of load on it, but we'll see how it goes. I think I'm okay for clearance. What a fluke. Yeah, I mean, it's not maybe the best detailed model with no engine on display, not being able to open the bonnet. You can't open the boot lid or the doors. But it's quite a good looking model, I think. IXO, of course, are the makers of the Australian cars, the Collection series. Now, this Volvo model isn't anywhere near as cheap as their 143 Australian cars, the Collection models, but this was a pretty fair price. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. It was pretty reasonable considering it's of a car that raced in Australia. I do notice when I looked at it, if this was one of your higher end models, that grille there would most likely have holes in it, like the real thing. But it does look correct. The bonnet pins on the car are also decals, but that's to be expected because I'd imagine this model is shared with a road-going version, perhaps. This one I bought from my usual dealer at Diecast for You, and I don't think he gets a lot of IXO 118 models, but this one, because being that it's an Australian touring car championship winner, of course this one was, well, delivered to the shop or ordered to the shop by its owner because of its Australian connection. a bit of information about Robbie Francevic that I got mostly from Wikipedia. Robbie was born Robert James Francevic in Auckland, New Zealand on the 18th of September 1941, and he died on the 4th of July 2026 at the age of 84. He's survived by his wife Rosita, who he married in 1968. Robbie's racing career began in 1966. It was in a car called the Colour Me Gone Cust Axie, which was the Ford Galaxy with a 427 in it. He won 20 races with the car and the New Zealand Saloon Car Championship in his first year, so that's pretty impressive. In the 1970s, he was a regular competitor in the Formula 5000 series, and he even came out to race in Australia a handful of times. He was the winner of the 1983 Benson and Hedges Touring Car Series in a Holden VH Commodore. And later on, he also raced a Ford Falcon XC. Actually, it wasn't a Falcon, it was a Fairmont Ghia, so it had electric windows and all. Central locking. Because I recently seen a video of it on the Roaring Session, which is a New Zealand website. They got a YouTube channel and they've got a Facebook page, and they talk about the history of racing in New Zealand and Australia. From there, we come to 1985, and there was a race in New Zealand. It was the Nissan Mobile 500, and Robbie turns up there with this Mark Petch Volvo, or Mark Petch owned Volvo, with a driver by the name of Thomas Lindstrom, and I believe he raced for Volvo over in the European Touring Car Championship, and I think it did all right. May have even won that first race. But after that, he came out to Australia. He competed in the Australian Touring Car Championship, won a couple of races. He came 5th in the championship, which isn't too bad an effort at all. And then at the end of the season, they did the Sandown 500, and he was joined by a driver named John Bow. And unfortunately, they suffered a diff failure, I think, at the Sandown 500, but car showed good speed. And again, at the Bathurst 1000 in October, it was really competitive. It was running strongly against the Jaguar XJS that came out from Tom Walkinshaw's team in England. They fielded 3 cars, and of course it was won by John Goss and Armin Hahn. That was also unfortunately a DNF for their Volvo of Robbie Francevic and John Bow. But some of the footage I've seen of Robbie driving it recently, you know, he wasn't afraid to chuck it around the track at Bathurst. I mean, there's pictures of it with, you know, a couple of wheels off the deck. So he certainly had some skills. The following year, of course, was the year he won the championship. Volvo Australia brought out the team from Mark Patch, become a full team. I think round 4 of the championship, John Bow joined in a second car. His was a left-hand drive car to Robbie's right-hand drive car. I can't recall specifically where John finished the year, but Robbie won it. He won 3 races that year. So, yeah, it was all good. Then it came to the Sandown 500, and from what I gather, he was supposed to join a fellow New Zealander, I think Leo Leonard, or Rod McRae. Oh, should have researched that, but anyway, there was a falling out between him and the team manager, because he was due to drive this brand new car that this team manager, who was John Shepherd, had built. But apparently there was some sort of disagreement between Robbie and John, and was sacked from the team. And he drove a Ford Sierra XR4i. It was an ex-Andy Rouse car, I believe, that one, because I'm sure there was only ever one that raced in the Australian Championship. Yeah, I think his result at Bathurst was a DNF with a championship. Didn't do a lot of rounds. His best result at Bathurst came in 1987 in one of the JPS BMW M3s, and he finished 6th outright and 2nd in class, which was behind the JPS BMW of Jim Richards and Tony Longhurst. In the car that Robbie drove, he was joined by a driver by the name of Ludwig Finiau, who was a team mechanic of the JPS BMW team, and he'd gone quite well in some races at Amarillo Park in the 3rd M3 that the BMW team had. So as a reward, he did the endurance races as well. In 1988, he was in a Ford Sierra RS 500. He had a DNF. 1989 was unfortunately another DNF. But in 1990, he got a 7th outright with a fellow New Zealander by the name of Andrew Bagnall. That's a bit of history of Robbie, and yeah, until his death the other day, and those last races he'd done in Australia, didn't hear too much of him after he left Australia. But his death's certainly sad, that's for sure. I mean, obviously 84's not a younger person, but I did come across a post on Facebook that he'd been sick a few months back and he'd spent time in hospital, so possibly his death the other day was related to that, but I can't say for sure, of course. Yeah, so valet to Robbie Francevic, the 1986 Australian Touring Car Championship. Drove an unfashionable Volvo, certainly shocked a lot of people. I know Dick Johnson, when he was on camera, he'd get frustrated because his Fox body Mustang, it couldn't catch the Volvo, and he'd give it names like Swedish Valiant, and you know, it looked like a block of flats, things like that, as Dick would do on race cam. So anyway, rest in peace, Robbie Francevic. And to my viewers, thank you very much for viewing. As always, hope you're all in good health and doing well. To any new viewers, welcome and hello. Till next time, goodbye.